It's Radio Free 501c, the voice of Rogue Tulips Consulting. I'm Cecilia Sapp. Don't forget to subscribe. We're on all your favorite podcast services. This week, I'm joined by first-time guest Jill Treby, CAE, who's also a member of the AWTC Board of Directors. We're talking about a really fun topic. It's award season, elevating the field. Welcome to episode 214. Hey everybody, it's Monday, October 16th, and that means it's time for another episode of Radio Free 501c, brought to you by Rogue Tulips Consulting. I'm Cecilia Supp. I am a CAE and a CNP, and I'm the principal and founder of Rogue Tulips. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode. To our global audience, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. This week, we've had a little bit of a schedule change, but so delighted to have first-time podcast guest Jill Treby, CAE, who's also a board member of Association Women Technology Champions, which is better known as AWTC. I'm sure you've heard of them. They do a lot of good in our nonprofit management community. This week, we're going to be talking about its award season, how it can help elevate your field. So Jill, welcome to the podcast. Would you like to say hello to our audience and tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Cecilia. And thanks for having me. I love talking about awards. And hello to everyone. It's nice to see you. Many warm and friendly faces out there, I'm sure. Yeah, and I'm an association management executive. I've been in the field for over 20 years. Um, and um, and I really have had the opportunity to work with really wonderful groups and wonderful colleagues. And I'm excited to talk about awards today.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I know you are a big proponent of the AWTC Awards program, which I was really thrilled and totally surprised to get recognized last year as an AWTC champion. So I really appreciated that.
Well, congratulations.
And oh, well, thank you. It's nice. Because, I think I'm like a lot of people, I'm out doing my thing and wondering if anybody's even noticing. And then bam, you get an award and you're like, wow. So it's really great. And awards are wonderful things when they're recognizing people's contributions. So, and as we said, this is award season. So, what does award season mean to you?
Well, we're fresh off the Nobel week and the MacArthur Genius Grants, and I'll tell you, to me, that was always a really high point in when working at a variety of scientific groups, because so often members were recognized for their work,
Mhm.
and it was wonderful, and sometimes, and quite honestly, really thrilling to know these people, and to see how when something that is so famous, like the Nobel Prize or the MacArthur Genius Grants, gets highlighted for the public and their work gets explained, how it really highlights the field and the work you do. People may not think about physics or chemistry, for example, on an everyday basis, but when you highlight the accomplishments of the people who have been awarded these things, or I really love the MacArthur Genius Grants and the variety of the work that the people do, and they get recognized. And I think both Nobel and MacArthur, you're found as a winner, right? You don't apply. So that's about being like a diamond in the rough, or not so much, because on the case of these people, they're doing amazing things that are changing the world. But I love it on a smaller scale, for an organization, because it allows you to elevate the work that your group does and make it understandable, and help people be visible to their peers and have their work highlighted in a way that they may not do.
Yeah. Oh, and I do get excited about the Nobel Prizes. And what I love about the way they reveal the winners is it's one at a time. They don't reveal them
Mm-hmm.
all at once. So it's kind of like, oh, what's next? What's next? And a woman won this year for the first time solo for research on women's workforce issues. And I
Yes.
loved that. I was like, finally, it's so exciting. Because just ask my husband. I've been on a bit of a rant about women's issues lately, the last few weeks, but that's to be continued on another podcast. But I do, and I'm still waiting to hear from the MacArthur Foundation. I haven't gotten my Genius Grant
I
yet.
tell you,
I'm still waiting.
every year. But I think it's fascinating to read about the contributions these people are making and the way that, it's always very interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary. It's never just one focused thing they do. It's the way that they take their work and their interest and how it makes the world a better place.
Yeah. Oh, and it's so, what I love about the Genius Grants from the MacArthur Foundation is that they just give the person the cash and say, keep doing what you're doing. There's no other restrictions. Just keep doing
Yes.
what you're doing. We like what you've done so far. Keep it up. And I love that. Now, in the nonprofit world, of course, we have a lot of awards
We sure
in
do.
this area. Oh my gosh. It's like we've got sometimes I think too many, but that's again another podcast for another day. But lots of awards out there. I do think it's great to recognize people. I think it's really important. Even if you're just saying thank you for volunteering, thank you for contributing. But then we do have these bigger award programs, and what those do in a lot of ways is not just recognize that individual's contributions, but it highlights the organization as well.
Oh, I
So
agree 1,000%.
yeah, so like you were saying, like when you were working all those years with different scientific groups and oh, one of my members got a Nobel Prize or they got nominated for a Nobel Prize. I mean,
Mhm.
how does that help the organization overall?
Well, it helps us explain to the public, maybe not to members, the impact of the work that our members do. And then within the member community, I think it just gives you a great platform to talk about and reaffirm the importance of the work that the members are doing. And I'll tell you what, I'm a membership person from day one. I love any reason to highlight a member. I mean, I think highlighting a member, gives you the opportunity to say, this is what we're about. This is the best of our field. And thank you for the contributions you're making. So I think that's what I love about awards programs is it shows the community what is possible. So whether it's a rising star type award, like we're looking at you and we think there's going to be good things coming out of you, which can be life changing to get that type of it really changes your career trajectory sometimes.
Mhm.
Or if it's a lifetime achievement award and saying, look at the contributions you've made to the field and look at how those contributions have spurred other people's work. I think learning about those from both perspectives is important. I'm a huge fan of recognition. So
Yeah.
that's where I mean, I don't know if that has come through clearly or not, but I just think there's
No,
always
not at
something to
all, Jill.
celebrate. I know, not at all.
Tell us
There's
what you
always
wrote
something to
about.
celebrate, and awards programs give you the opportunity to talk and to brag, right? And whether you're doing that for someone or you're nominating yourself and you're getting the opportunity to brag, I think both are important and both are necessary. And I think it's also really important to give people a push sometimes. That's why I love nominations because it gives you the opportunity to say, hey, this person's doing phenomenal work and they should be recognized. And I think we often see things in others, that they don't necessarily see in themselves. So like you were saying, Cecily, right? You're like, I'm just going about my business and here I get this award. Well, people noticed, people
Yeah.
nominated you. Like, I mean, I think that's what matters.
Yeah. And, the point about self-nomination, I'm kind of conflicted on that, to be honest, because a lot of the awards programs for individuals, they say
Mm-hmm.
nominate someone or self-nominate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the first thing is if someone nominates you, the nominee still has to do all the work. So, like, you have to,
Right.
I've noticed that. Like, you
Right.
still have to go and you've got to fill out the application, you've got to supply all the information and everything. And so it's nice, but then you're kind of like, oh, well, now I've got to do all this work. But then I'm kind of conflicted about self-nomination. So I'd love to hear, some more from you on that topic because I'm kind of like, well, if I'm self-nominating, is it really valuable?
Yes,
Okay,
it
well,
is. I think it is. And I'll tell you why. Because I have been privileged to work on numerous awards programs, at the organizations where I work. I have volunteered. I volunteered a lot for many, many years for the AWTC, or for, well, definitely for AWTC, also ASAE, the Gold Circle Awards. I served on that committee. I was the chair of that committee. I was a judge for that committee before I served on that committee. And so being more of the behind the scenes of awards programs, I definitely think self-nomination is important, because I think who better than you knows the accomplishments and the contributions that you've made. And and I think that a good program has criteria that gives you the ability to evaluate the candidates, right? So I don't think at the end of the day it really matters if you're nominated or if you self-nominate.
Okay. Well, and like I said, I'm conflicted on that issue, because I kind of like, well, what if I think I'm doing something really good, but it's really not. But I also wanted to pursue what you just said about having good criteria. And the Gold Circle Awards is a great example, because you have to curate your awards program, because many people don't remember this, but years ago, there was a Gold Circle Award program. It had 400 categories and 2 full-time staff people who did nothing but Gold Circle Awards all year long.
Oh, wow.
So what ended up happening is the Gold Circle Awards imploded and it went away. They just got rid of it because it couldn't stand any longer. So a few years later, this like I think the early 2000s probably, I was an ad hoc volunteer for the communication section at ASAE for an ad hoc work group that was writing a proposal to the ASAE board of directors to bring back the Gold Circle Awards, but only focusing on communication. And so I helped write that. It got approved. I got on the communication section council. And when it got approved, we had kind of a staff-led committee the first year, but the second year I was the founding chair of the revived program. So I was the first chair when we brought it back of the committee. And it was just focused on communications. And then over time, it has added things outside of communications like membership and marketing,
right,
because they do it at the MMCC. So this is a cautionary tale, though. And I lobbied against having it go outside of communications because of what happened before. So that's a cautionary tale about awards programs getting too big and not being managed. I was also a judge several times after I, rotated off the council. So and I'm really for that as a volunteer opportunity, judging awards programs, because you get to meet new people, you get to see really cool entries. You get to see things that you'll never do. So there's really so what do you think, what are some tips people could use to keep their awards program from imploding?
Well, I think you always, always, always need to go back and look at the purpose of the award, right? What is the award doing? Who is the award for? And is that clear, right? And is there any scope creep? Because I think scope creep happens everywhere for a lot of reasons. But what's the purpose of the award, right? And who is honoring, who is eligible, and then the criteria. How will the person be, or the recipients be, evaluated? And I think you have to make sure that is super clear up front. I think the best thing you can do for an award when you're on the behind the scenes for an awards program, if people are applying, is if it is not a nominations process, if it is like for example, Gold Circle, is be vigilant that they meet the criteria and they meet the eligibility. It should be clear cut. That's what I think. And I think it should be easily interpreted what that award is recognizing. Sometimes it gets a little messy.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Again,
right? And then it just feels like a popularity contest.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why having judges, like volunteer judges, as opposed to people vote, is much better. because you would be surprised. I mean, people will cheat at a community association event to win. It's like,
Oh,
I mean, I'm
absolutely.
serious. Like years ago, we do in my community association an annual Halloween event, and I did it. I organized it from 2017 until 2022. And when I first started doing it, I was told, oh, well, we can't have voting anymore because we used to use these little beads and people would drop the beads in the cup to vote for which thing they liked the best. And people were coming and dumping the beads into someone else's cup or their own cup. And so we don't do that anymore. That's why we switched to judges. And I'm like, well, I think that sounds like a good reason to switch to judges, right? You don't want it to be because it was a popularity contest. So these things I've been saying to my husband a lot this year, a lot of the things we do in life, and especially I see this in the nonprofit world, is the world writ small. So they're microcosms of what's going on in the bigger world around us. So, the community association having a popularity contest that can happen, with major awards as well. Fortunately, the Nobel Prize and the MacArthur Genius Grants seem very organized and focused. But I'm sure, there's a lot of people, like the Academy Awards from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts
Right.
and Sciences, right? A lot of times that's a popularity contest. Oh, we like this person better than this person this year. Like the year Cher should have won the award for Silkwood and didn't. And then next year she won for Moonstruck, which is like giving Marissa Tomei the best actress for My
Right.
Cousin Vinny, right? It's like, no, what is this? And she got it because she was the only American in the category. So it's like wrong, 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 because funny movie, but Academy Award, I don't think so. But yeah, so
But those are
that's
members voting, isn't it?
it is the members vote. They vote. And again, popularity contest, or she's the only American because like all the other
I always thought
people in
I
that
always
category,
believed that they read the wrong name. I didn't realize that it was supposed to be hers. That's what I always thought about Marissa Tomei. Although I thought
that
she
they
was
read
great
the wrong
too.
name. Maybe they did. No, I know. I'm just like, okay, look, she was funny, but come on. And yeah, and I'm willing to say this about you, Marissa Tomei, because I'm always slamming the Duchess of Sussex. So there you go. Because she's only done 12 podcast episodes and she won an award, but then she lost her contract. Hey, Spotify, I've done 214. Let's talk. Anyway. So again, recognizing things, people have a title and they get something that other people don't. There's a lot
Mhm.
of hardworking podcasters out there, folks. So let's remember that. So, but let's talk a little bit. You are a very active leader at AWTC,
Yes.
and I have filled out the member form. So I guess I'm in,
Thank
and
you
I'm
for
in
being a
this like,
member.
oh, thank you. It's a wonderful group. You're welcome for filling it. I'm happy to help and do that. And you're on the board and you are leading the AWTC Awards this year. And you are,
No, I'm not. I'm
oh,
not
you're
leading the
not.
awards committee. I am
Oh,
passionate about it. So
okay. Well, let's hear your passion for it then. So I'm sorry I misspoke. I thought you were
no, no,
also
no, that's
the
okay.
party.
That's okay. I mean, I work really primarily with our marketing and communications, which is why I'm talking about it a lot,
Mhm.
but I
Oh, okay, great. All
am
right. That makes sense.
but I
Yeah.
am passionate about it because AWTC exists to empower, recognize, and advance women. So the recognition component is huge. And our awards program has three different awards. One, which is a technology impact award, right? So what is a project? Um, what is an example of someone who has done something and had such a lasting impact through their use of technology in their organization? There's also an innovation award, which is about for an individual who has created and really led a specific program that really changed the course of the organization and is really an example to be admired. And then we also have our technology champion awards, which are for women working in association with technology every day, making things happen. Um, and so I love that the awards program has really specific descriptions for what each award is for. I didn't do the best job just now. there's better words that could be used, but those are the gist. And um, but they have specific descriptions about what the award is for and who is eligible and why we want to recognize their hard work. And so it's on my mind because today, which is spoiler, not October 16th, is the deadline for the nomination. So it's on my mind because I want to make sure that everyone is out there, because we do accept self-nominations, but I do believe that when you get a notification that someone has nominated you for an award, a bunch of good things happen, right? You feel good, right? Someone thinks that the work I'm doing is worthy, right? Maybe it didn't even occur to you. Maybe you didn't even know the award existed. So it's an opportunity, right? And then finally it keeps the cycle going. Hopefully you remember that someone nominated you and you take care in the future to also nominate and promote, the people that are close to you. I think, one of the most rewarding things about having had a career, I'm not done yet, but is working with great people and giving them opportunities, right? And showing them the light. So maybe it's early, it's awards. It's saying, hey, you should apply for this 40 under 40 program, or hey, you're doing great work and I put your name in for this, or hey, did you know that there was even this whole organization and that campaign you just did for member retention was something special, and I think it's worthy of being recognized by the industry. So I think starting that as a culture early is a good thing, and I wish everyone did it throughout their careers.
That's a really good point. It really just makes a person feel good, like getting a thank you note. And it's interesting because data related to recognition, especially for volunteers, really points to the fact they just want a thank you. They just want you to recognize that they participated and gave some time and effort. They don't need a plaque or a certificate, just like a nice handwritten note or even a nice email saying, oh, I just want to try and thank you so much for all the nice things you did to help us out. And people just love that. And this way it's so important to spell people's names right.
Well, that I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, because that's how they get recognized. The very first time many moons ago, when the Earth was still young, my very first quote in the media was in the New York Times, of all things. I was so excited.
Oh my gosh, it's the gold standard.
I was so excited. Well, they're also the gold standard for typos and bad copy editing. They spelled my name wrong. They spelled my last name wrong. They spelled it FEPP. So another reporter called to interview me as like a follow-up because they wanted to do a story on the same topic. And so they called and said, I'd like to speak to Cecilia Fepp. And the receptionist said, we don't have a Cecilia Fepp here, and hung up. So I never got the reporter call. And I was like, that was me they were talking about. Oh, well, they said Fepp, not Sap. And I'm like, are you really that clueless woman? Come on. I know. So it's like, spell people's names right. It's important. If you make a mistake and spell it incorrectly, just say, oh, gee, I'm so sorry I spelled your name wrong, and apologize and fix it. But it's really important. So this individual recognition is important. And I think what AWTC is working towards is a world where women lift each other up instead of holding each other down. We support each other instead of compete with each other. So it's a good group of people. I know most of the people that are leading the group. So you're all doing a great job. So thank you, AWTC, for all the work you're doing and helping people. And the wonderful, I have to tell you, if you did get nominated, this is airing on October 16th. So yes, as Jill said, the deadline was last Friday.
But you can still self-nominate.
But not today because the deadline is passed.
No, you can self-nominate beyond that.
Yeah. But the awards ceremony is completely virtual, online. You don't have to travel. You just have to come have fun. And last year's was just really a great time was had by all, as the saying goes. So if you get nominated, make sure you fill out the application. If you can participate. So, and to all the people, since it is Monday, October 16th, then the deadline for nominations was last week. If you got nominated, good luck. So
still self-nominate. I mean, even throughout the applications aren't due till November 2nd, so there's still
Oh,
time.
they're due November 2nd. Oh,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Well,
So
never
the
mind.
nomination part, because we wanted to give people enough time after they're
Oh,
nominated to complete the application. So
okay.
if you're self-nominating, you're really just applying. So
Got it.
you have time. That's what I mean. It's
Okay.
totally good.
Oh, okay. So nominations were due last Friday, but you can fill out your application until November. Or,
Yes,
all right.
applications are
Thank
due
you.
until November 2nd.
So, and where is the website for AWTC where people can self-nominate or
It
learn more
is,
about it?
it's awtc.tech, TECH, backslash awards. But if you just go to awtc.tech, you'll see on the homepage, the awards tab, and that's where you go. And I love that you brought up the award ceremony because that is also, if you like a party, one of the things I love about awards is the celebration, right? So it's not just the actual recognition; it's the celebration and getting to be together and doing that. So I'm Cecilia. We may have some in-person components to this AWTC awards this year. So I don't want to do a wholesale, it's only virtual situation because that is a little TBD.
Okay. Well, I will keep, watching to see for news on
Yeah,
that. That would
watch,
be
keep
fun.
an eye on that one. Keep an eye on that one. But I think, one of the organizations I worked for a long time ago, we they had it was an old organization over 100 years old, a well-established program. And during the big annual meeting, there was your typical ceremony, but not a lot of fanfare, kind of like a kind of get up, get your thing and be done. And a lot of people didn't participate. And we really transformed it into a whole honors program that included a much more high profile event where
Mhm.
it encouraged people to attend, that it didn't compete with other sessions or lunchtime activities. We held it in the evening, and then it was followed by a larger celebration event that just, I think that is important too. I think celebrating not just yourself and not just publicly, and making sure that when you're running a program, you do your best to recognize and to promote the winners and what they did. So what I love about Gold Circle and I love about what we do with AWTC is that it's not just, hey, congratulations to this person for winning an award. It's, hey, this person won this award, and now hear from her about what she did and how she did it, and and the impact it's had, and it allows people to learn and to
Well, and
make.
I have always loved that aspect of Gold Circle Awards that,
Mhm.
there was always an annual meeting session
Yes.
where people shared, well, here is my winner, and this is why we thought was an important program. And I remember the first year we did the overall winner, which I think
Uh-huh.
they still do. They pick one,
They
like the
do, they
best
still
of
do
the
that.
best. And it was Sandy Gordon representing the American Association of Orthopedic Surgeons. And it was for a program to stop distracted driving.
Huh.
And so it was in direct response to a tragic car accident where, there was a family that had two little kids in the back. Mom and dad were in the front. The dad looked behind to check on the kids for like 15 seconds. They got smashed into by a truck and they all died.
Oh my goodness.
So, because of the distracted driving. So they reacted to that. And she was like so excited to win that award. And it was exciting because it was the first one. And also they did a fantastic 75th anniversary program for AAOS. And
Oh,
they looked ahead and they had 4 years to plan that. And so you start learning about those other things. So you might learn one thing somebody did, through Gold Circle Awards, but then you might learn about this other cool program that they did that's like
mhm.
inspiring to other people too. And that's really, to me, when you're recognizing things like through Gold Circle Awards, you're inspiring other people with ideas and actions and say, oh, well, maybe we could do something like that. Or,
Exactly.
and that's what I love. And then with people I think when you're recognizing individuals, like the award that I received was AWTC Champion Award, which was just great. I again so surprised and happy to get that. And there's a group of people who get that, but it's recognizing people who are doing different things. And so I think that inspires people to say, hey, maybe I could mentor someone, or maybe I could do a podcast or whatever it is that they might be interested in. So it's really, to me anyway, awards are not just about recognition, they're about inspiration and inspiring the other people in the community, whether it's your association or the broader community of nonprofit management, to try something new or maybe recognize that what you're doing is pretty cool.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. I think it's just an opportunity to learn
Mm-hmm.
and to be inspired. I agree. And then I also think before we're done that there's sort of like that other component when you yourself win an award. I mean, I love awards programs, but I also think that it's important that when an individual is recognized, that you got to tell people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sometimes I think, it's like, oh, it's great. And maybe you do a LinkedIn post, maybe you tell a few people, but I really think you need to shout it from the rafters. And you might be saying to yourself, well, the people who I don't work with aren't going to understand what this is for.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily think that matters. I think, first of all, it's an opportunity to educate because I think a lot of people in association management have that similar situation where not everybody around them totally understands what it is they do and why it matters. And
Yes.
yeah. So the so it's a great opportunity to educate. And it's also it matters, right? So you should say, well, even if you don't understand every detail about it, I want you to know that I did something that I got recognized for. And it was, you know, better than somebody else's because that's how you
Well,
get an award.
that's such a great point, Jill. I'm glad you mentioned that because it does help educate people about what we do in nonprofit management. Because
Sure.
we all that's like again another podcast for another day. Why nobody knows what we do, but yeah, but interesting thing. We both have the CAE,
Mhm.
and one of my cousins on my husband's side sent me a note one time and was like, "What? Well, what does that mean?" And I said, well, it's a certified association executive designation and it's a credential. Well, what does that mean? Like, I'm a certified oil rig manager, so I can run
Mhm.
an oil rig. What does this mean? So even though he didn't know what CAE was for, he asked the question. And so I thought that was just great, because that's why we do it. As well, I have the CAE because, I know how to run a nonprofit organization. And that's all he wanted to know. So I was like, well, now I know. So that's really another great thing about it. And obviously, Jill, you and I could go on and talk about this for probably another couple of hours, but unfortunately, our podcast episodes need to have an ending so that the next one can begin. So I want to thank you for being such a wonderful guest. It's always fun talking with you. You have such infectious, joyful energy, and I just love it. It's very inspiring.
Oh, thank you, Cecilia. This has been a real treat.
Oh, well, it's been so fun. And I do love talking about awards. I think we have to be very cautious about them in the planning and making sure that they're curated. Like you can't just set it
Mhm.
up and then let it implode, like the
I
bad
think you have to be
example.
intentional. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like all of our programs, like our code of ethics or conduct, if we have industry standards, whatever it is, we need to just, keep reviewing them and updating them as
Mhm.
needed. So well, Jill, at the end of a podcast episode, I like to ask my guests what's the one thought you would like the audience to take away today? And if they wanted to get in touch with you and maybe talk more about AWTC and awards, what's the best way to get in touch?
I guess my parting thought would be that recognition is important, and the form, an awards program is a really effective mechanism for it. And it's something to keep an eye on. Um, and then I think if you want to get in touch with me, the best way is probably LinkedIn. I'm the only Jill Treby there, I assure you. And I look forward to any kind of conversation, awards or otherwise.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Jill is also seeking her next opportunity. So if you would like to talk with her about that, please check that out. Check her out on LinkedIn and check out her appearance on Nonprofit Executive Spotlight.
Yes, thank you, Cecilia.
You're welcome. And I want to thank you all for joining us this week. We have to go rogue for now, but we'll be back next time with another exciting episode. So don't forget to subscribe. We're on all your favorite podcast services and audio and video. So whichever way you like to listen or watch, you can find us. If you'd like to learn more about Rogue Tulips Consulting and how we can help your organization bloom outside the box, check out our website, roguetulips.com. You can go right to our services page and see some of the things that we help clients with. We also have all of our fees on that page because we believe in transparency. And if you're a nonprofit executive management professional, nonprofit management executive professional, mix my words up. If you are a nonprofit management executive seeking education in nonprofit management, check out our education program, the 501c League. It is so big, it has its own website, the 501cleague.net. Well, so that's all for this episode. Thanks again for listening. And on behalf of Jill and myself, we'll see you next time.